Hi, it's me, Josh, and this is my third video podcast. I didn't expect to do the third one so soon after the second one, which I filmed yesterday, but yesterday Dr. George Tiller was murdered by an anti-abortion rights zealot, and my friend Lisa Godoldig quickly set up a candlelight vigil at San Francisco City Hall. Did I bum a light?
Oh, of course.
Let me first thank and welcome you to City Hall. My name is Supervisor Bevan Dougherty, and
that's what it is.
Lisa Godoldig, who organized
There you go.
and put the call out for people to come.
Guess I could try it with a candle, huh?
That's
what you were thinking of. You were smarter.
And she called me today and said
Thank you.
that
Sure.
she wanted to have people gathered here at City Hall tonight to have vigil and to make a strong statement from San Francisco with respect to the horrible murder that took place yesterday of Dr. George Tiller.
First person is an author and mother. Please welcome Ayelet Waldman. What I'm going to say tonight goes out to my mother, who's the person who taught me that the personal is political. Nazi, Al-Qaeda, Stalin, NAMBLA. These are only a few of the comparisons the likes of Bill O'Reilly have used to describe Dr. George Tiller, assassinated on Sunday. The women whom Dr. Tiller treated have other words for him: compassionate, loving, and most of all, courageous. The schlock jocks have a permanent bully pulpit from which to incite violence and hatred. But what about the women whose stories are never told? What about the women who confess only in secret their tragic tales of babies with genetic and developmental abnormalities, who turn to each other to heal because to say the words out loud is too dangerous? There are hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of us, and it is time now for us to try to assume a modicum of Dr. George Tiller's heroism. It is time for us to come out. So here it is. When I was 17 weeks pregnant with my third baby, our doctor told my husband and me that the baby was suffering from a genetic abnormality. That was on a Friday. We scheduled a D&E, a 2-day procedure, for the following Tuesday and Wednesday. The next 5 days were without question the most difficult of our lives, both separately and together as a family. We consulted our parents, our friends, our rabbi. We went to a therapist who specialized in helping parents make exactly this kind of decision. Mostly, we sat together, crying and talking and trying to figure out which choice would be less wrong. We didn't hide from the facts. We felt our baby kicking. We knew exactly what would happen to him during the course of the procedure. He had a name. We kept the appointment. We had the abortion. It broke our hearts. The only thing worse would have been not to do it. During those 5 awful days, there was one thing we never needed to think about, because we live here in the Bay Area, in California. We had an abortion provider, the wonderful, loving, competent, and proficient hero of our unheroic story. A physician who had spent his career bringing babies into the world, and who had decided that what the world needed, what our community was sorely missing, was a doctor who would, with a sure hand and a kind heart, ease them out. By the time we became his patients, he was exclusively performing abortions. One of those doctors, like George Tiller, whom pro-life advocates like to call mass murderers, and whose homes they stake out, whose windows they shatter with rocks. The doctors who are shot in the back as they walk into church on a Sunday morning. Sitting in my doctor's office, I couldn't stop crying. Finally, he reached behind his desk and pulled a large stack of photographs off his shelf. The pictures were of babies, babies of every color, shape, and size. For a moment, I wondered how he could be so cruel. Then he asked me, "Do you know what these are?" I shook my head. "These are the babies born to women who were once my patients. Look at them." I leafed through the stack. I wasn't the first to have cried over those pictures. Many of them were already marked with stains from other women's tears. Every one of these babies is healthy. Everyone is wanted. Everyone is loved, he said. And you will have another baby, a healthy baby, whom you will love. "Do you promise?" I asked, as if he had the capacity to grant that wish, as if he was the one spinning the awful roulette wheel. "Yes," he said, "I promise." On our way out, he took my husband aside, put his hands on his shoulders, looked him in the eye, and said, "I will take care of her for you." And take care of me he did. With his sure hand and his good heart. And soon, I added my own photograph to that collection. I tell you, I would lay down my life for that man, just like the patients of the blessed Dr. George Tiller would have laid down their lives for him.
Tomorrow morning, when my first patient arrives, and I know that she's thought about her decision every minute of every day leading up to that, it's not a decision that's made on a whim. I'll wipe away my tears, and I'll continue to provide the compassionate care inspired in all of us by Dr. Tiller.
People who worked in or visited Dr. Tiller's clinic report that he greeted every patient and their family in jacket and tie. He personally thanked them for coming to his clinic and letting him take care of them.
I'm going to just conclude with a really brief interfaith prayer. So I ask that if you can, just take a deep breath. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. If you feel comfortable, reach out to the person next to you, whether you know them or not. Holy One, you have many names and many understandings. We bring to you our grief and sadness, our anger, our frustration, and our fear. We offer this up to you knowing that you can bear it all with us. We ask especially for comfort for the family of Dr. Tiller and his friends in their grief. We give you thanks for the life of Dr. Tiller, that he was willing to risk his own life to support the lives of others. We ask for you to help all of us to respond to hate with love, to respond to violence with peace, to respond to injustice with justice. We ask your blessing on this community here gathered. Help us to support one another. Help us to every day grow in our ability to offer love and to stand up for justice. Amen.
So, that was a very moving vigil. A first time ever vigil organization by my friend Lisa Godoldig. She taught herself how to organize a vigil in a few hours. So I'm proud of her, and very sad about the murder. And this is your correspondent, Josh, signing off. This is my third video podcast. Till next time, take care.